Good evening. We are ready to begin. This Planning Commission meeting is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being video recorded as well as presented live on KCLV, Cable Channel 2. Please note customers of CenturyLink and Cox Communication can view this program in high definition on Channel 1002 and standard definition on Channel 2. You can also watch this meeting live on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV on the Go Vegas app. Does anyone have the, yeah, they have the Go Vegas app. Do you have the Go Vegas app? No. The Planning Commission meeting, as well as the other KCLV program, can be viewed on the internet at www.kclv.tv/live. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV and the web the Saturday of the meeting at 10 a.m., Monday at midnight, and the following Tuesday at 6 p.m. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Chair Cherry.
Present.
Vice Chair DeSalvio.
Present.
Commissioner Schlottman.
Present.
Commissioner Toussaint.
Present.
Commissioner Williams is excused. Commissioner Rogan.
Present.
Commissioner Chata. Present. Thank you.
Thank you. I call your attention to the information printed in your agenda concerning our actions and the appeal and review process if appropriate. There are agendas on both sides of the podium for you to follow along with. Please read this carefully, and if you have any questions, staff is available. Also, the second page of the agenda contains our rules of conduct. We appreciate you adhering to these rules so we can have a smooth meeting. Item number 4, all comments made under this item for specific action will be cross-referenced to those items. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak under this portion of the agenda?
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, Commissioner Schlottman.
Yes, if I could just make a quick comment, public comment right
Please.
now. I just wanted to recognize my parents that are in the audience tonight. Betty and Mitch, who come out from Ennis, Texas, and Shani and Haley, my cousins, and Tom and Lisa, who their parents, who drove out here with them. So they'll be sitting in tonight. So anytime you want to call Betty and Mitch up to add a little bit of input, feel free.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to have them.
Okay. All right.
And who makes the Thanksgiving dinner?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Glad to have you here. Okay, moving on to the final minutes. Vice Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to approve the Planning Commission meetings from October 22nd, 2019.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries. Moving on to our housekeeping items. Are there any items that commissioners, staff, applicants, or members of the public would like to pull forward for action?
Mr. Chair, we have no housekeeping items tonight. Thank you.
Whoa, I think that might be a first.
Yep.
That's great. All right, Vice Chair DeSalvio.
At this time, let's see, there is no motion for housekeeping.
Yeah, that's a first as well. All right. All right. Moving on to the one motion, one vote. The following are items that may be considered in one motion, one vote. They are considered routine, non-public, and public hearing items. All public hearings and non-public hearings will be opened at one time. Any person representing an application or member of the public or a member of the Planning Commission not in agreement with the conditions and all standard conditions for the application recommended by staff should request to have the item removed from this part of the agenda. Item number 7, VAR 77488, applicant owner Terry R. Helms Living Trust, for possible action request for a variance to allow a 24-foot rear yard setback where 35 feet is required and a 7-foot side yard setback where 8 feet is required for an expansion of an existing detached single-family dwelling at 800 Campbell Drive, Ward 1. Staff recommends approval. Item number 8, SUP 77588, applicant HUDL Brewing Company, owner ProView Series 32 LLC, for possible action request for a special use permit for proposed 5,520 square foot beer wine cooler on and off sale establishment with 1,800 square feet of outdoor seating area at 1327 South Main Street, Ward 3. Staff recommends approval. Item number 9, SUP 77625, applicant owner Michelle Clark, for possible action request for a special use permit for proposed 808 square foot accessory structure use at 5861 Gold Inlet Drive, Ward 6. Staff recommends approval. Item number 10, SDR 77638, applicant owner Quail Tree LLC for possible action request for a site development plan review for proposed 60-unit addition to an existing multifamily development with waivers of the perimeter landscape buffer requirements at North Alexander Road, east of Elk Ridge Drive, Ward 4. Staff recommends approval. And item number 11, VAC 77685, applicant owner Good Hood LLC for possible action request for petition to vacate 20-foot wide alley between Las Vegas Boulevard and 6th Street south of Carson, Ward 3. Staff recommends approval. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard in these items? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, and I'll quickly disclose on item number 8 that my company is working on a project located within the notification area. It won't affect us any greater or lesser. I will be voting on the project tonight.
Yes, and Mr. Chairman, on item number 8, I own an urban lounge in the Arts District. It's just about 20 feet outside the notification area, so I'll be making a disclosure on that, but I feel that I can vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the disclosure. Vice Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion for approval on items 7 through 11 under one motion and one vote.
So motion on the floor, please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, items 7 through 10 are final action unless appealed within 10 days to the city clerk. And item number 11 will move forward to the city council on the January 15th, 2020 meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the public hearing part of the agenda, I'm pulling forward items number 65 and related item 66. Item 65, VAR 77699, applicant City of Las Vegas, owner Southern Nevada Housing Authority for possible action request for a variance to allow 47 parking spaces where 65 are required at the northeast corner of Bonanza Avenue and Wardell Street, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. And related items 66, SDR 77700, for possible action request for site development plan review for proposed 14,400 square foot individual care center and a 3,700 square foot clinic, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, the proposed individual care facility and family clinic provides much-needed services within this area of the city. The proposed development is compatible and consistent with development in the area and is appropriate for this location. However, the applicant has created a self-imposed hardship by not providing the required amount of on-site parking specified by Title 1912. As such, staff is not able to support the variance requested and recommends denial of both applications. Please note an additional letter of support has been received since publication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Hello, Sean Coulter, 151 East Warm Springs, Las Vegas. I'm the architect for the project. So let me just briefly explain the project. What you're seeing on the site plan is that the site obviously is located at the corner of Bonanza and Wardell. And so, let's see, get this out of the way here. So what we've done is basically the site was actually chosen because of its proximity to a lot of residential areas in the neighborhood. This is going to basically be a child care facility for 2 to 5-year-olds. And what we're looking at is we're looking at the variance for the parking. And so let me show you the site plan now. So we have Wardell on the west and Bonanza on the south of the site. The blue is the footprint of the building. What you have is you have the school itself, which will house about 200 students, 2 to 5 years old, and then we have the health clinic located as part of that facility. One of the things that we were looking at with the traffic flow in the area is we were going to be coming into the site off of Wardell and flowing through the site and back onto Bonanza. So what we'll have is we have 47 parking spaces total, where 65 is required. What we have is we have 25 is actually required for the staff for the school, 20 is required for the health clinic. So we have those, and what we're looking at is there is also an additional 20 spaces that's required for the number of students. We have 200 students, and it's, one space for every 10 students. So what we're looking at, though, is that reduction from 65 to 47 because we have a good opportunity to have on-street parking along Wardell, and then also the flow of traffic through the site. We've tried to make this as easy as possible for people. The other thing with this project is because it's conveniently located within this housing area, is that a lot of the students we see coming from, there's going to be a new apartment complex just to the north, basically located on the north property line of our site. A lot of students will be coming from that area, and we also see, talking with the user group, that they see a lot of parents walking their kids to school. They're not sure exactly how many, but that's the idea. And then also, we've set it up, kind of going back to the site plan. You can see the blue, our site's obviously in red. The blue is on-street parking along Wardell on both sides of the street. So we could see if there's any overflow potential for that, and pick up and drop-off times, they could be parked along Wardell if needed. But the idea is that the traffic flows from Wardell through the site back onto Bonanza and then out. You also see that there's potential parking along Wardell on the other side of Bonanza. And there's actually a signaled crosswalk that's highlighted in yellow that was put in a while back, actually. And so that's how we would see the students coming to the property. Let's see. Thank you. We also have 5 drop-off spaces right in front of the building. So we have the 47 spaces plus the 5. So we're at, 52 total spaces potentially. But and the other thing too is that we do allow, like I said, we have the parking for the health clinic located along the east property line, and then most of the parking for the staff along the north. And so you can see that, because of the size of the site, we wanted to make sure that we made the site as efficient as possible, because this neighborhood really needs this type of project. And so by developing the site in this way, we feel that this is probably the best solution that we could come up with. And it's actually maximizing the site, the square footage that's needed for the school, as well as the amount of parking that we can squeeze on there.
Thank you very much. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard on this item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing, turn it over to the commission for discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. A few questions for the applicant through you. Whenever I was reading this particular item, I was a little bit confused, and I'm glad to be able to hear you tonight, but could you talk a little bit more about the project? So this is a school for what age?
Yeah, this is a school for pre-K, so it's 2 years old to 5 years old.
Okay. And then how does the clinic incorporate into this site? I don't see how the two go together, not that I just need to wrap my head around that.
So one of the things working with the user group is that they wanted to integrate this facility, the health clinic facility, into the project because they see that there's a definite need in the neighborhood for a health clinic. And the idea is that the students here and the students' families will be kind of first to get help here at that clinic. And then it's also opened up to the neighborhood as well.
But this is...
Yeah, it's all based on low-income families.
And so there's a couple other facilities like this throughout the valley, 2 others or 3 others, is that correct?
I believe there's 3 other locations, right? Yeah. There's one on Alta, one in the park, Lorenzi Park. I'm not sure where the third one's at.
And how is this public or privately funded?
Is it public funded? I'm not.
I'm sorry, this.
Need your name.
Hayden with,
Thanks.
with the City of Las Vegas. This is funded with bonds
Okay.
and some CDBG funds.
And what's that? Okay, thank you. And can you tell me how the other facilities operate in town? Are they in similar income groups? Or is there an abundance of parking? Do you see a need for more parking? What do you see in the other facilities that are already existing?
So one of the facilities located on Alta, it's actually just a school, and it's about the same size in terms of number of students. There's about 200 students there. They actually have 27 parking spaces there.
Is it Alta and what?
I'm sorry?
Alta and what? What's the cross street?
MLK,
Yeah. Is it MLK?
yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And so they don't have a health clinic, but it's just a school. But they have, I think, 27 spaces there, and they somehow make it work. I'm not sure how, but they do.
Okay, well, it sounds like a great project, and, you know, I think with the comments about the Wardell Street and having parking along Wardell, I think it works. I think it actually works in this neighborhood fairly well, as people probably will be walking to the school or to the clinic. It's an interesting concept. I haven't seen the others, and but I had a hard time wrapping my head around the school and the clinic all in one. But yeah, I think I could support this.
Okay.
If there's no other comments, I'd like to make a motion. Mr. Chairman, on item number 65, VAR 77699, I move to approve, subject to staff's conditions based on testimony heard tonight.
Thank you. Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
And then, Mr. Chairman, on related item 66, SDR 77700, move to approve, subject to staff's conditions.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, those items are final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm going to jump one more out of order and go to item number 69 in Director's Business. TXT 77845, applicant owner, City of Las Vegas, for possible action request to amend LVMC Title 19.16, application and procedures regarding neighborhood meeting requirements, 19.18.02, words and terms defined regarding the definition of open space and to provide for other related matters. Staff has no recommendation. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, this amendment adds general language to clarify the purpose of a neighborhood meeting, when a meeting is required, and what public notification is required. It adds a requirement for a neighborhood meeting when certain golf courses and/or open spaces are repurposed for other uses, and it revises and clarifies the definition of open space. Staff has no recommendation for this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. This is noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard in this item? Seeing no one, will close the public hearing. Go to the commission. Vice Chair.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no other comments, I'd like to make a motion for approval of item number 69.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, that item will move forward to City Council in ordinance form. Thank you.
Thank you. Going to related items 12 through 14. Number 12, abeyance VAR 76939, applicant owner Land Capital Partners LLC, for possible action request for a variance to allow 23 parking spaces where 29 spaces are required at the southwest corner of Charleston Boulevard and Hillside Place, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. Related item, abeyance VAR 76940, for possible action request for a variance to allow 90-foot residential adjacency setback from the south property line, where 138 feet is required, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. And related item, abeyance SDR 76941, for possible action request for site development plan review for proposed 5,031 square foot commercial shell building with waivers of the perimeter landscape buffer standards, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, while the proposed development is in close proximity to the Founders District and supports the goal of the Founders District, it is not part of the district and subject to the development standards set forth by Title 1908. The applicant is proposing to overdevelop the subject site as evidenced by the requested variances, waivers, and exception. Therefore, staff is recommending denial of all applications. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Brian Nagel from Green Tunnel Architecture Group, 3047 East Warm Springs, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89120. We've been notified this weekend that the owners have directed us to request a hold, if possible, for another 30 days, so that we can go through a couple internal issues with the site.
Tell me the reason again. I couldn't hear.
They didn't really clarify exactly why. I have a feeling it's inside of their company directives.
Okay, so the request is for an abeyance. Commissioner Schlotman?
Mr. Chairman, if we do hold this in abeyance, I would encourage the architect to work with owners. I read through this item. I remember seeing this item previously. There's certain things on here which I think you can easily get around, such as there's 4 trees where 6 is required in the eastern border. You actually have 5, one of them's on site, so it doesn't get counted, but I think you could easily put those 2 trees in, get rid of that waiver, and I think you could add 1 more tree up front. And then we've seen something like this in the past, so altogether, I don't think this is a bad project. It's what we need down there, but I encourage you to work with them to try getting rid of some of those waivers.
Yeah, and I'll set up another meeting with staff and we can try and move forward with that.
Thank you.
And would this be the second abeyance?
Yes.
This would be the second abeyance if it's approved. Okay, this was notice of public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard in this? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. And Commissioner Schlotman?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would go. Okay, so seeing as how we hold items for 30 days and the second meeting in December is going to be vacated, we're going to be holding this until the second Tuesday of January, which would be January 14th, Planning Commission hearing.
Understood.
Okay. So with that being said, I would go ahead and make a motion on items 12, 13, and 14 to hold those items to the January 14th, 2020 Planning Commission hearing.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks. Moving on to related items 15 through 19. Item 15, ZON 77627, applicant owner CM Sagebrush 1 3082 LLC, for possible action request for a rezoning from U to C1 at the southwest corner of Kyle Canyon Drive and Oso Blanco Drive, Ward 6. Staff recommends approval. Related item 16, SUP 77628, for possible action request for a special use permit for a 5,100 square foot liquor establishment use, Ward 6. Staff recommends denial. Related item number 17, SUP 77629, for possible action request for a special use permit for proposed 3,000 square foot beer wine cooler off-sale establishment use, Ward 6. Staff recommends denial. Related item number 18, SDR 77630, for possible action request for a site development plan review for proposed commercial development consisting of 3,000 square feet restaurant with drive-through, a 3,000 square foot convenience store with fuel pumps and canopy, a 5,500 square foot liquor establishment tavern with waivers of the perimeter landscape buffer requirements, and to not orient the building towards the corner and street frontage where such is required, Ward 6. Staff recommends denial. And related item number 19, TMP 77631, for possible action request for a tentative map for a 1-lot commercial subdivision, Ward 6. Staff recommends approval. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, the proposed rezoning aligns with the existing general plan land use designation, and staff recommends approval of the rezoning. The proposed 1-lot commercial subdivision meets the minimum requirements for a tentative map, and staff recommends approval of the tentative map. However, the applicant has provided no evidence of a unique or extraordinary circumstance to support the requested waivers. Staff therefore recommends denial of the site development plan review and associated special use permits. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get your name and address to the record, please?
Thank you, Chairman, members of the commission. Brian Hardy with the law firm of Marquis Arbach Coughing on behalf of the applicant. Address number 10,001 Park Run Drive, 89145. This application comes before you. It's an application that's really suited for this particular area. We believe it's prudent to be able to put that here. We've discussed with the fact that the plan and the city really desires, in order to change our landscape plan just slightly, by moving it from 24-inch box trees to 36-inch box trees. We've accepted that. We're willing to do that in order to make sure that we have more mature landscaping here on behalf of the application, to make sure that this place develops exactly the way the city wants it to. We've been a good city partner, and we continue to want to do so. In fact, this is an application that we're excited to tell you that we're ready to build. We have leases in place. We have everything ready to go. This is not going to be an application where this land is going to sit for any period of time. We're ready to develop, we're ready to go now. And so we look for your approval on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public would like to be heard in this? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and go to Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yep, I have worked with Brian on this and the Mayor Pro Tem, and this is a good project. Like he said, he's ready to move. He's got lease agreements. He agreed to the 36-inch box trees, which I believe is like over 100 trees for that property at 2 acres. So unless there's any other comments, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve items number 15, ZON 77627.
Okay, motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. That motion carries. That motion carries.
And just for the record here, what item would you want me to attach the?
18.
18? Yep. Okay, and motion to approve item number 16, SUP 77628.
There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, a motion to approve item number 17, SUP 77629.
Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve item number 18 with the conditions that they're moving from 36-inch box trees to, from 24-inch box trees to 36-inch.
Thank you all.
And I'll
Go
ask
to Eric
for
with
the-
staff.
Yeah, through you, Chair, the condition will read, prior to the issuance of building permits, an updated landscape plan will be submitted replacing all projected 24-inch box trees with 36-inch box trees. Thank you.
And Brian, you concur?
That's acceptable. Thank you.
Okay, with that said, I'd like to make a motion to approve with those conditions, item number 18, SDR 77630.
There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
And finally, I'd like to make a motion to approve item number 19, TMP 77631.
Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, those items will move forward to the January 15th, 2020 City Council meeting.
Thank you, Chairman, Vice Chair, members of the commission.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Brian.
Have a happy holiday. Moving on to items number 20 and 21. 20, VAR 77642, applicant Dutch Brothers Coffee, owner Decatur Meadows Shopping Center LLC, for a possible action request for a variance to allow 407 parking spaces where 449 are required on the west side of Decatur Boulevard, south of Meadows Lane, Ward 1. Staff recommends denial. Related item 21, SDR 77643, for a possible action request for a site development plan review for a proposed 865-square-foot restaurant with drive-through, Ward 1. Staff recommends denial. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, the applicant has provided no evidence of a unique or extraordinary circumstance to support the requested variance. Staff therefore recommends denial of both applications. Please note that there are additional letters of protest and support since publication. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Hi, Paul Deppie, 1330 Olympic Boulevard, Santa Monica, California, 90404. I'm the architect for Dutch Bros Coffee. Thank the Planning Commission for seeing us and having us on the agenda tonight. As staff mentioned, this application's for 862 square foot Dutch Bros coffee stand with double drive-through stack, holding 17 cars in the stack, where 6 is only required. We are seeking a parking variance to allow for a 9% reduction across the entire center. As you can see here, across the entire center at Meadows Lane and Decatur Boulevard. Other than the parking variance that we are seeking, we're in agreement with, we're in compliance with all of the aspects of the development code, as staff has acknowledged, and are in agreement with all the rest of the conditions that they've proposed. If you have any questions, I'm here, and we have also Dan Beatty with Director of Development for Dutch Bros.
Great, thank you. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard in this item? Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing, and I'll go to Commissioner Rogan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've gone out to this property and I've met with the applicant, and I think that this is an appropriate variance request. I think that generally this property is a little bit run down, and the parking lot on the multiple times that I visited it never even came close to being full. Also, this is intended to be a drive-through, not so much a sit-in coffee shop, so I don't think that it's necessarily going to drive significant traffic that would be utilizing the parking lot rather than the drive-through, which, as was said by the applicant, holds 17 cars. So unless there's any other comment, I would make a motion to approve item 20, VAR 77642, subject to any conditions.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Please post. That motion carries.
And also, I'd make a motion to approve item 21, SDR 77643, subject to any staff conditions.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, those items will move forward to City Council on the January 15, 2020 meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to related items 22 through 59. Items 22 through 56, VAR 77645 through VAR 77679. Thanks, Lou. Applicant, Olympia Companies owner, Upgrowth NV Partners LLC, for possible action request for multiple variances to allow a 50-foot lot width where 60 feet is required, and lot sizes ranging from 6,050 to 6,165 square feet, where 6,500 square feet is required on lots 140 through 149 and lots 151 through 175 of a proposed 218-lot single-family residential subdivision on the northeast side of Clark County 215, generally bounded by Ann Road, Wallapai Road, Washburn Road, and Clark County 215, Ward 6. Staff recommends denial. And we have related item 57, VAR 77680, for possible action request for a variance to allow a 1.11 connectivity ratio where 1.3 is required, a non-standard street designed for Wallapai where adherence to Title 19.04 is required, 32-foot wide public streets with no amenity zones in McKelly Crestway and Egan Crestway Drive where 60-foot complete streets are required, dead-end stub street terminations where cul-de-sacs or hammerheads are required, and private streets with no sidewalks with a gated community where 33-foot wide streets with sidewalks on one side is required for proposed 218-lot single-family residential subdivision, Ward 6. Staff recommends denial. Related item 58, VAR 77681, for possible action request for a variance to allow no external streetlights on Wallapai, McKelly Crestway, Alpine Ridgeway, and Egan Crest Drive where such are required, Ward 6. Staff recommends denial. And related item 59, TMP 77682, for possible action request for a tentative map for a 218-lot single-family residential subdivision, Ward 6. Staff recommends denial. Could we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, no evidence of a unique or extraordinary circumstance has been presented, and that the applicant has created a self-imposed hardship by proposing to overdevelop the site by providing lot sizes and widths that do not adhere to the minimum requirements of Title 1906 for the R1 zoning district. In addition, the applicant has proposed public and private street sections that do not provide complete street elements such as amenity zones, streetlights, and sidewalks. Staff therefore recommends denial of all applications. Please note that there are additional letters of protest since publication. Thank you.
Thank you. Get your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Good evening. My name's Bob Gronauer, 1980 Festival Plaza Drive. I'm here representing the property owner, which is Olympia Companies, which is under one of their entities known as Upgrowth. And I'm also here representing the applicant, which is D.R. Horton, which is going to be the builder for this development. If I could get your attention to the overhead, we do have a very unique circumstance with this piece of property, as you can see, as it's highlighted in yellow. The 30-something applications that are before you are located, this is the beltway itself that bisects the property itself. So the first 30-something applications are before you on this piece of property on the 85 acres, and then later on about 11 acres I'll be talking about on the west side of 215. Some of you were here over the last 2 years, others weren't here over the last 2 years to understand the interlocal agreement, the battles and discussions that we've had with the neighbors out here. Councilwoman Mayor Pro Tem Fiore asked us to make sure we worked with the county on this issue, and there's a reason why a lot of the variances that you see today, and I'll get into it, is the reason why we have these variances, because essentially we've been working with the county, County Commissioner Larry Brown, Sue Baker, the liaison for Commissioner Brown, and the neighbors. About a year ago or so, or several months ago, we came up with an approved site plan that essentially on this 80-something acres, we had a certain amount of half-acre lots, we had a certain amount of RD lots and R1 lots. The problem is that you run into the reason why you have these variances. Initially, in the city of Las Vegas, half-acre lots were required to have 20,000 square foot lots. In Clark County, it's 18,000. So when we're cutting the deal and the understanding with respect to the half-acre lots, we were based on the 18,000, which is the county standard, because that's who we were dealing with the county residents. That being said, since we submitted the applications, the city adopted a new text amendment, and that ordinance allows for 18,000 square foot lots, which therefore we no longer need those additional variances for the half-acre development. As a matter of fact, I'll show you on the landscape plan. So on the landscape plan here, this is Ann Road, which runs east and west. We have Wallapai. And we have this is part of the Beltway, or this is adjacent to the Beltway 215. So in this area is the half-acre lots that I'm showing you that we agreed to build on the property itself. The next area is the RD lots, which actually does conform with respect to the county code and the city code with respect to the RD lots that are located here. The R1 lots that I have here, the city code and the county code they have two different requirements. In the county, when you're dealing with R1, you have lots that are up to 5,200 square feet. In the city of Las Vegas, you have lots that are minimum 6,500 square feet with a minimum 60-foot wide width. Because of that, and because of, as I said, which is similar to the agreement that we had on the half-acre lots, same analysis goes here with respect to working with the county standards, although this is a city property here. We agreed to the
It is a city
R1.
property.
Yes, it is a city property. But as we were talking, as I said.
That's why you're here.
Exactly. But the point is for Commissioner Larry Brown, because it's very important, because he's been in the Northwest for probably 12, 16 years as a representative here. And Mayor Pro Tem made it a point that we had to work with the county and work all these issues out. So that being said, the R1 that you have there is the reason why we have those differences between the R1 and the city and the county. And then in addition, now that you have D.R. Horton in as a true developer, they moved certain product type around here, because when you're dealing on 80-something acres, you can't have just one type of product segmentation. You need multiple product segmentation. Because of that, we have some larger homes on some of these lot sizes itself. So a majority of the variances that you see, and as you can see here in the yellow itself, is we have 50-foot wide lots or 60-foot wide lots are required. And then in the pink lots that you have located here, these are additional variances on top, is we have reduced lot sizes that are less than 6,500 square feet, but are greater than 6,000 square feet, which goes along with the site plan that we showed the neighbors for the last year or so. This is substantially similar with respect to the street network. It's substantially similar to all of the requirements and the things that we've been discussing for the last 2 years with the neighbors. That being said, we would ask you to approve the application, the variances that you have that are before you, and I can answer any other questions that you may have with respect to the application itself. And again, one of the things the staff said in the beginning that we disagree with, that this is a unique piece of property. This is part of the interlocal agreement, and a subsection in the interlocal agreement allowed us to do some of the lots less than half acres because of the impacts of the Beltway. And when the Beltway was finally completed, we were able to come in and make some changes to the property itself. So again, this has been a very long process, and hopefully now with D.R. Horton here, ready to move along with the development here, this could be the last time I could stand up here on the Ann and 215 property, and you don't have to hear me go on another 60 more applications.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks.
This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard in this item? Please come up. I'll need your name and address for the record, and if you're for, against, and why.
I'm John Kristanek, 5565 Michelle Crest Way. I've also been to the meetings over the last couple of years and heard the arguments for this and heard the arguments for that. I'm surprised to hear that our representative agreed to go, since we are in the city, to go to 18,000 square foot for a half-acre lot, which is sort of ridiculous. And anyway, the lots that he's talking about, why is not in the plan, since it's an unusual lot? They have something like an open space or park. Why they didn't discuss that? They squeezed the turnip to get every ounce of blood out of that property. To give them further variances, I've been going to these things, like I said, for 2 years, and every time there's been a change, a change, a change, a change. One other thing that I really don't like is when I'm looking at lots, I don't have any indication of what lot 140 to 175 is. That's 35 lots. Where are they? He's showing 85 acres, or 87 acres. It's like smoke and mirrors. Let's be honest and forthcoming. I vehemently denied it every time, and I'm also denying my request, or his request on these variances. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. Need your name and address for the record, please, sir.
My name is Marvin Rogie. I live at 5585 Michelle Crest. Lived there since 1996. I really didn't come prepared to give you a good argument, but I agree with your committee. They have found this to be unsatisfactory on every item listed in this bulletin of yours. So you're talking about a gentleman that's building $200,000 houses or less, squeezed in on little lots, and we have houses in that immediate area that are valued at $2 million and $1 million. So that just ain't going to be good for guys like us that have been there a long time. So I'm not going to grant you I just appreciate the fact you're hearing us, and I believe you should follow the recommendation of your board. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out, Marvin. Can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Yeah, Jason McLemore, 5525 Michelle Crest Way. I'm actually on the corner house here, and we have this, Stephen Street right here, and I'm not sure what that's going to be. I've had, developer come out and offer me different things for that, like give up my, my easement rights to make that like a non-public easement. So I'm kind of confused on what's going on right here. There's been no clarification from the developer on that. Because they said that this was going to be the main entrance into the neighborhood, but then they came out 3 months ago and said, well, if we don't do that, we're going to make this, give up your easement rights, and we'll just make that a private easement, and there will be no road there. So I don't know if that's still the story today or what, if that's actually going to be a road.
Okay, thank you, Jason.
And yeah, I deny it. I'm against with all what they're trying to plan here. It's just been very smoky mirrors, so.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public like to be heard? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, and I'll give the applicant a couple minutes for rebuttal.
Yes. So I'm going to focus up in this area here to address the issues fairly quickly. So the irony here is the lot sizes that you see here where the individuals are living, and I believe that's the area where they're living, is no different than the lot sizes that are here, okay? That's where meeting the county requirements and the county, same county standards that are in these existing 4-lot cul-de-sacs and the 8-lot cul-de-sacs. They're similar in size. Similar meaning you have 18,000 to plus 20,000 square foot lots in that area. So with respect to the concerns of the neighbors who've shown up in this area, it's essentially like for like lots that we do have. The gentleman that lives probably in one of these two houses, a few months ago, we had to come through as part of the city's conditions of approval. We had to go back over to Clark County and ask for some vacations for county land. This is what happens when you deal with city and county properties. So we ended up, and I know my clients did speak with the individuals here because the county commissioner asked us and made sure, and the liaison asked us to make sure we're working with them. This area here is going to be vacated. This is land that is going back to the individual owners here. I believe I was not in those conversations, but it's been relayed to me, and when we were at the county commission having those hearings, we had lengthy discussions about this on and off the record with respect to this area, and there's some other areas that are adjacent to this project where we already came in with vacation applications to address any of the concerns that we had that we had through this process. So again, the property here south of these properties, of the existing properties, will go back to those individuals with the vacation. And as far as lot sizes that the three individuals have mentioned, we're similar in size here, if you understand. As I'm pointing out, these 4-lot cul-de-sacs are no different than what you see here from lot sizes. So that being said, I think I'm going to just keep it to that issue itself, unless if you have any other questions, I could answer those questions also.
I guess I'll just quickly start, if you don't mind, with a quick, so that's a dedicated, unimproved right-of-way right now in the county.
Correct.
And that'll vacate.
Correct.
And that's something the county can do automatically, and it goes back to the homeowners, or do they have to have the consent of the homeowners to vacate?
We've already went through the vacation process. The vacation was already approved by the county commission. I want to say everything runs together, but in the last several months, we've had those hearings.
So that's county initiated?
It was a city requirement on the conditions of one of our approvals that we had to come in and we had to vacate right-of-way, and we ended up vacating the right-of-way that was requested by the city.
Which I think is always, Lucian, a city condition, right, in this scenario?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, so with the whole entire project, they originally had a parcel map that came in, and they had to vacate rights away in the county and the city. So they wanted to get rid of the city side. We don't usually allow the city side to go away unless we know the county is going to also release their side, because we don't want to leave like a half of a street available. We want to make sure the entire street's going to be gone. In this case, I was actually looking through while you were speaking about, I think the vacation may have already recorded. What's available online is not the most accurate information right now, so I actually couldn't verify that, but
Okay.
I know from the city side, their parcel map is already recorded, and the associated vacations in the city have recorded, and I'm about 90% sure that the county ones, if not all, most of them are recorded as well. So that, in that case, the property would go back to the adjacent property, the right-of-way would go back to the adjacent property owners.
Okay, so I guess the Jason that was up here, he would need to go with the county to find out how that.
We could work with them. I'll have my client contact them. Because they've already been in contact before when we're coming through on the vacations itself. And as Lucian pointed out, I'm almost sure, because the maps have been recorded, these parcel maps out here, that we had to get those county vacations recorded before we were recording the parcel map. So
Okay.
I'm almost sure it's been done
So this
too.
board can't really do much with stuff in the county. We can't really, it's something, I don't normally speak out to the crowd, but Jason, you'll have to go out to the county, and Mr. Gronauer has offered to connect you so you can know how to navigate, but it sounds like it's in progress, and that land is coming back to you and to the neighbor, I guess, as well.
Yes.
Okay. Vice Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as Mr. Gronauer said, this has been going on for some time. This was not an easy task. It started out something totally different than what it looks like now. Many neighborhood meetings, many contentious meetings. But at the end of the day, the consensus is to try to marry up and match up the surrounding existing properties to where, as Mr. Gronauer pointed out, to ensure that the way of life that they push towards, and no street lights, and everything was pretty much met that was asked over the last 2 years. And
including density up by 215.
Including density at 215, acting as that buffer. To speak to, I believe it was Marvin, or John, they wanted to know what lots were affected. So, Mr. Gronauer, if you could, show them again the yellow and explain to them that that's the ones that we're here for today, nothing surrounding their existing homes where the density would be less than what they already have.
Yes, so for point of reference here on the plan, these are the existing homes, the 4-lot cul-de-sacs in this area. One of the things that we agreed to early on, neighbors did not want to have a main egress coming out of this area. So to address one of the issues that was brought up, the main egress is coming out over here further to the west. As you can see, we have the half-acre lots that are matching the half acres in this area. If you then come over, you have the transmission lines. If you're familiar in this area, you have the transmission lines, and you also have the old beltway that comes through this area here. That's where these RD lots are going to be, okay? A minimum, I think, 10 to 12,000 square foot lots. In this area where you see the shaded area, this is also what we call during the negotiations a demarcation line. So this demarcation line is the power lines in this area where we'd come in with the R1. So the R1 is tucked away in here adjacent to the beltway between the power lines and the beltway itself. Now, the only lots that we are asking to reduce the square foot sizes and width are going to be the ones that you see highlighted here in yellow, okay? Those are up adjacent to the beltway itself, and the ones highlighted in pink will have a reduction in the width size, but will also be a little bit slightly less than 6,500 square feet. Now, that gets to where I was mentioning is the product changes with D.R. Horton. They wanted to put different size homes on these different lots, so you don't sell just 4 models for 80-something acres. So in this area, this is the only area, for clarification, that you do have any changes in the R1 zoning district with respect to the square footage and width of the lots itself. The remaining portion, as you can see, we're not reducing lot sizes. We're in compliance with the code itself on both now in the county and city code requirements. We meet those and exceed those requirements.
Thank you. And another great concern was exactly working with Commissioner Larry Brown to make sure that at the end of the day, he put his blessing on it, because there is the interlocal agreement And like I said, this has been going on for a couple of years. I've been to the meetings, I attended them, I listened to what the people said. It went back and forth and back and forth. This is a tough piece of property to work with. I kind of like the idea of having those buffer homes there to cut down and reduce the noise into the half-acre lots. A lot of hard work went into this one. Jason picked up a little bit of land, and so did his neighbor. I think we pretty much did basically everything that could possibly be done, because it's going to get developed in some way, shape, or form, and I think this does conform, and it is harmonious and compatible. Nobody likes change, but, you know, this is a good thing. We fought, now here we are standing here 2 years trying to get this on, so unless anybody else has any other comment, I would entertain to make a motion, but my motion's going to be to approve items 20 through 59.
22 to 59?
That's correct.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your vote. I do remember a robust discussion on this item a couple years ago with a lot of homeowner input on it. Please post. And that motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, items number 22 through 58 are final action unless appealed within 10 days to the city clerk, and item number 59 is final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 7 days.
Thank you. Moving on to related items 60 through 62. 60, VAR 77689, applicant owner Dumani Centennial LLC, for possible action request for a variance to allow 100 parking spaces where 133 spaces are required at the northwest corner of Centennial Parkway and Durango Drive, Ward 6. Staff recommends denial. And related items 61, SUP 77690, for possible action request for a special use permit for proposed auto smog check use, Ward 6. Staff recommends denial. And related item 62, SDR 77691, for possible action request for a major amendment of a previously approved site development plan review for proposed 81 square foot auto smog check building, Ward 6. Staff recommends denial. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, the existing site has an active parking variance allowing 102 spaces where 128 are required. The proposed development would allow 100 parking spaces where 133 are required. The applicant has provided no evidence of a unique or extraordinary circumstance to support the requested variance, which would intensify the existing development while decreasing available parking. Staff therefore recommends denial of all applications. Please note that there are additional letters of support since publication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you get your name and address for the record, please?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, fellow commissioners. For the record, John Curran, 985 White Drive, here on behalf of the applicant to briefly describe our project and answer any questions you might have. We are proposing to build a 81 square foot smog check kiosk in this existing shopping center on North Durango and Centennial in Ward 6. In terms of the site development review, the structure would match the aesthetic of the existing structures, similar stone accent, paint scheme, and roof. Furthermore, the placement of the site on the site plan is completely screened from public right-of-way, so you really can't see it from the street. With regard to the parking variance, the headline might be somewhat misleading, perhaps. It is an existing retail center. We are requesting to remove one parking space for the structure itself, and then, of course, a space for the customer to be serviced. This stabilized shopping center has operated for over a decade. We believe to be more than sufficient parking on site. Furthermore, I have 5 letters of support from existing tenants in that shopping center. I did share those with the city clerk previously, so they should be on the record. With that, respectfully request your vote for approval, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Curran. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and turn it over to Vice Chair DeSalvio.
Yes, I do own this agenda today.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did get with the applicant, and I'm the one who asked for the letters of support. I personally know there's a need for it. It's also very screened. I cut into that shopping center at least once a week, doing business in there myself, and I can tell you that the spots are really never full, and where they want to place it is probably the most ideal spot to put it, where it's not in the way of anybody. It shouldn't affect any other business. Seeing the letters of support, that's great. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Another condition was that it had to match the pre-existing building to where it looked like it was built the same time that this was, and they did that. And it works, and we need it in that area. So if there's no other comment, I'd like to make a motion for approval.
All right, there's a motion on the floor
For item number 60, VAR 77689.
Please cast your votes. Please post. That motion carries.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion for item number 61, SUP 77690 for approval.
Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
And a motion for approval on item number 62, SDR 77691.
Thank you, Vice Chair. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, those items are final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to item number 67, VAR 77644, applicant owner Jana Barkley for possible action request for a variance to allow 17-foot front yard setback where 20 feet is required for an existing front porch addition at 6113 Iris Circle, Ward 1. Staff recommends denial. Can we get the staff report, please? I did skip.
63 and 64.
You know, well, let's hear 67 now. Sorry about that. You're good. Yeah. He can hold on 1 second. Can we get staff report?
You threw us off. Okay. Mr. Chairman, no unique or extraordinary evidence has been presented to warrant the requested variance. As such, the hardship is self-imposed, and therefore staff recommends denial of this request. Please note additional letter of protest has been received since publication. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Jana Barkley.
Okay, would you like to tell us about the application?
I'm sorry?
Would you like to tell us about the application?
We purchased the home in August of this year, and the porch was on it, and we would like to keep it.
Okay. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and go to Commissioner Rogan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I went out to the property site, and the porch it's fine. It looks great. It looks a lot like the other porches in the neighborhood. And of course, as the applicant mentioned, this was done by the previous owner. It looks like there was some code enforcement issues when the previous owner was improving the property for sale. And this one, unfortunately, ended up in the lap of the new owner. So I don't believe that there's any reason why we should deny this request. And unless there's any other comment, I would make a motion for approval subject to staff conditions.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that item is final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days. And just so you're aware, all necessary building permits will be needed for the structure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, going back to 63 to 64. Bring the meeting back to center here. Okay. Item number 63, VAR 77693, applicant Olympia Companies, owner Upgrowth NV Partners LLC, for possible action request for variance to allow 1.13 connectivity ratio where 1.3 is required, non-standard private streets where such is required, and the dead-end stub street terminations where cul-de-sac or hammerheads are required for a proposed 86-lot single-family residential subdivision on the southwest of Clark County 215, generally bounded by Washburn Road, Alpine Ridge Way, in Clark County 215, Ward 6. Staff recommends denial. And related item number 64, TMP 77694, for possible action request for a tentative map for an 86-lot single-family residential subdivision, Ward 6. Staff recommends denial. Can we get staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, staff finds the requested waiver and variance to be self-imposed hardships as the subject site does not provide an exceptional or extraordinary circumstance that would warrant the requested variance and waiver. Staff is not able to support the requested variance and tentative map and recommends denial of both applications. We do have a condition of approval correction. Please delete condition number 16 from application TMP 77694 if approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Good evening. I will be very brief here since I do have dinner reservations with my son who's in from college and my girls, so that's the only reason why it mattered to me that you actually skip. Usually I don't care because I know I'm here all night, but as you guys know, if you have kids, you understand you want to get out and go see them, especially when they come home from college.
Yeah, I have a 13-day-old, so go ahead.
Oh, congratulations. I missed that somewhere along the lines. Anyway, I'm here representing Olympia Companies and D.R. Horton. This is a carryover from the previous matters that we discussed. The property is located on the other side of 215 here. It's adjacent to the bus farm that's located here. Again, this is RCL. This is something that we've agreed to a long time ago. We'd ask you to approve the two applications that are before you.
Thank you very much. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard? Seeing no one, I will go to the commission. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And echo the same words. This was all part of the whole deal that we've been working on for 2 years. So if there's no other comment, I'd just make a motion for approval on item number 63, VAR 77693.
There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, Dad, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
And I got,
I got one.
I spoke to you, a motion to deny. No. Item number 64, motion to approve, and is that the one that we're going to talk about, deleting item number 16? Okay, we're deleting item number 16.
Yes.
And that'd be a motion to approve TMP 77694.
Thank you. Motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Please post. And that motion carries.
All right, I know I'm a dope, but now I'm out of here, okay? You guys have a good Thanksgiving.
Mr. Chairman, those are final action. Item 63 is final action unless appealed to the city clerk in 10 days. Item 64 is final action unless appealed to the city clerk in 7 days. And give regards to the kids, Bob.
All right, moving on to, I believe this is our 68. WVR 77596, applicant Michael Cornthwaite, owner, Nevada Good Luck Investments, LLC, for possible action request for a waiver of Appendix F, interim downtown Las Vegas development standards at 1301 South Commerce Street, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. Commissioner Schlottman?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to abstain on this item as I'm under contract by the owner. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will disclose that I have a project within the notification area. I did talk to our city attorney about this. I will be voting on, doesn't affect us any greater or lesser, we'll be voting on the application tonight. Can I get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, staff is not able to support utility placement in direct conflict with Appendix F and is recommending denial of the request. If approved, staff has added conditions of approval to allow placement within the alley. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'm here representing the ownership 1301 Commerce LLC and Nevada Good Luck Investments LLC. My name is Michael Cornthwaite, by the way, and this is my daughter, Amelie Cornthwaite. She's having a civics lesson tonight. So we're trying to work with the city right now to allow us to put in the utilities that are going to be necessary to improve the building on Colorado and Commerce. It's 16,600 square feet of building, and we're attempting to improve it and keep it in harmony with the improving neighborhood. So in trying to do that, we are bringing in new utilities. We're improving each of the spaces. And our contractor is working with the city, but also the Las Vegas Valley Water District to bring in the new service required. So what we know at this point is that we're required to bring in the backflow devices for the water service and for the fire sprinkler system. We have attempted to design them behind the building and on private property, but the Water District rejected our design for that. The Water District rejected the design to extend the water main down the alley to the back of the property. So at this point, we submitted a plan to put the RPDA and the RPPA in front of the building to the city and the Water District. At that time, there was a meeting between the Water District and the city, and we decided it would be best to keep the small RPPA and the backflow devices near the street at the back of the curb and relocate the RPDA for the sprinklers into the alley. So we revised our plans and have submitted, revised our plans to show this, but however, we still need the waiver as the devices are not on our property in the alley. So we're trying to comply, and we've submitted 3 separate designs to the Water District and for the city's comments. And at this point, we've tried to accommodate all the requests. So that's where we are right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing, and I can quickly start off and say these downtown projects that have hardships with backflow preventers, and I've tried so hard on every project we do. It's different when it's ground up and you can incorporate it, but when you have an existing building and you don't have the space, and I have checked, and I do know you got denied multiple times. I've talked to both your contractor and people at the city to just see what the conversations were, and it is unfortunate, in my opinion, that we don't have a detail or a standard that's approved with them, not just for water, but for power as well, on clearances and everything's needed. I recently had a meeting with NV Energy to discuss, looking at a different standard for downtown for these kind of urban settings as opposed to the suburbs where you have big open spaces, and everyone hears the hardship, but no one's really taken a step forward on their side. I know the city's worked hard to try to help accommodate, and even working with you on this, what you're proposing here. So I know I don't like to see them on the sidewalks, because it's just something where it's out there, it gets tagged up and looks bad. I think the alley can work. Are there bollards around it, I assume, in the detail?
Yeah, I think there will be bollards
Yeah.
in the RPPA that's placed in the alley, or the RPDA.
Yeah, because it'll narrow the alley, but it's really just the trash service, I know, that goes through there that's looking for the access going up and down. So I don't have a problem with it. I do hope, as a comment, that, we can still push at the city to find some solutions, especially when something like this is put forward. So with that, I am prepared to make a motion. On item number 68, WVR 77596, I will make a motion for approval.
I'm sorry, Chair, were there added conditions, or did I not hear that
No.
correctly?
No, it was just my comments, just kind of rambling off.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought the planner had referenced that. I apologize.
Mr. Chairman, through you, I just mentioned in the introduction that if you did approve it, we had a condition that
Oh, I apologize.
that would have it located in the alley.
In the alley, yeah, okay, I didn't realize. I
Yeah,
thought
we
that
just
was in
wanted
the
to
backup.
reiterate that we did have an alternative if it was approved.
Okay. Lucian, do you want to read it?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, so actually already part of the conditions, it's condition 5.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so it's in there already.
And you agree with the, if
Yeah,
approved, a condition? Oh,
I do.
Okay. All right, there's a motion on the floor with approval with the item, condition number 5. Please vote. Please post. And that motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, that's final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Okay, moving on to item Number 70, citizens participation. This is where the Schlotman family is up. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. No subject may be acted upon by the Planning Commission unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come to the podium, give your name for the record. The amount of discussion of any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited.
I'd like to take a moment, give you a mazel tov for your, for Zelda.
Hey, thank you.
You and Michelle are blessed.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Commissioner Toussaint.
Well, I'd like to welcome Zelda to the Cherry family. I want to wish all my fellow commissioners happy Thanksgiving. And for my 4 little grandkids that are home watching TV, Kian, Zorian, Wizard, and Lachlan, and Zael, I'll be home in a few minutes. Thank you.
That's great.
Yes, and Mr. Chair, I just wanted to say, I'm glad nobody else dug into their cookie that Mayor Pro Tem gave us, because I've been stuffing my face off this all meeting long. It's probably the best cookie I've ever had, so let Mayor Pro Tem know. Anyways, so glad the Schlotmans got to come hang out tonight, and y'all want to come up and give a presentation? No? Okay.
Would you like to come up? Please come on up. I'll need your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Reese Mooney. I'm with New Aria Rentals LLC, 5575 Simmons Street, Unit 1-438. And we came today about the Qualtree vacate, but did we miss that? We were just 2-3 minutes late. Was that the first thing?
What number was it?
Do you want the PRJ number or?
The item number on the agenda, if you have it.
SIDR 77638.
That was item number 10, SDR 77638. This is the addition to the existing multifamily development at Alexander Road, close to Tenaya.
That was approved, yes.
That's
on the one
correct.
motion, one vote.
Okay, can I just make some comments about what's going on at that apartment complex?
Sure.
I own the property at 4,000 Elk Ridge Drive. The back of my property butts up against the entrance of the Qualtree Apartments. 2.5 years ago, in the green belt, or the landscaping break, they removed a bunch of pine trees. They came in and they erected 16-foot poles right on my property line, right up against the cinder block wall. Their intent was to build a billboard that started at 6 feet high and extended up to 16 feet high. The width of the billboard was going to be 16 feet wide. I made repetitive calls to the apartment complex and never got a return call from the management company. I called the city of Las Vegas because I thought the sign was probably out of spec. The city approved a 3-pole temporary sign 2.5 years ago that's still sitting there on the property. I called today and nobody could find any permit for that sign. Also, I found out today that they just had another sign permit approved for a freestanding sign. They already have a freestanding sign at their entrance, and they have another pending request for another 3-pole sign. And I have no idea where these signs are going to go, but the sign they've erected, we used to have a view of the mountains from the backyard. Now, for the past 2.5 years, we've been looking at their advertisements. And I was just wondering when this temporary sign might be coming down and where these 2 new signs were going to go. And they're already removing green belts, and now they want a variant to build more apartments without a green belt.
Yeah, I understand your concern. It makes sense. It wasn't on our agenda to discuss the sign tonight. It was just for an addition. I know I can go to Mr. Lowenstein here, who could probably add some texture to it.
I talked to the Director of Building and Safety, who you spoke to yesterday.
Okay, it was yesterday, yes.
Yeah. So on the follow-up research on that, there was a temporary sign permit that allows for the real estate sale sign that is offset from your property line by probably 5 feet.
It is now, yes.
That temporary sign permit has expired, so I forwarded it on to code enforcement for them to reach out to them. However, the code allows for them to reinstate the temporary sign permit. The code does not have a time duration in which it would lapse and then have to be removed. As long as they continue to renew a temporary sign permit, that sign would be permitted.
Okay.
If there's issues with landscaping haven't been removed, we can also address that through the code enforcement review of the site. As far as the other building permits, they have their one freestanding sign that's on the east side of the driveway entrance. There's only existing the sign that you're referencing, and then they have their non-advertising flags that are out on the street frontage. I'm not aware of any current permits in for review for any new signage.
When I talked to director, he said one was just approved for
You guys, I'm going to stop the discussion here because it wasn't on the agenda. Sure. And it's something, if you'd like to get the contact information of staff, they'd be happy to discuss it with you tomorrow.
Yeah, because this has been going on for years.
Yeah,
And,
and this
you know,
isn't
they're
the
not
forum.
following the rules. They put up what they think they want to.
Sir, I'm going to have to stop you right here. This isn't the forum for that right now, so if there's anything else you want to say for citizens' participation, this isn't the forum for this discussion on this.
Okay, well.
But it is noted, and like I said, you can continue with staff tomorrow. They can help you through the process with this.
Okay, and who's going to give me that information?
Eric, is it something?
Yeah, I mean, you got to realize, I'm looking at advertisements out of my
I
backyard.
totally understand your
Yeah.
frustration. there's nothing we can do at this point on this, for this agenda. Anyone else like to be heard for the citizens' participation portion? Seeing no one, we will adjourn the meeting. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.